right. As Brandon said, I'm Martelle Esposito, Director of Partnerships and Advocacy at Nava and co-lead of Nava Labs, and I'm really excited to share about some of the lab's AI-powered tools for caseworkers who help families navigate and enroll in benefits. So Nava Labs is the philanthropically funded branch of Nava, and we focus on researching products, implementation practices, and policy ideas, and advocating for adoption and scale of the most promising ones. The Nava Labs team is multidisciplinary, and everything we do is open source: our products, our processes, and our impact evaluations. And we have been benefited from Zhaowen and BGL's work with the SnapQC dataset. We have used it in practice, so recommend checking that out. The tools I'm sharing today come from Nava Labs' AI research program, which focuses on responsible AI implementation. And so, as many of you know, navigating and enrolling in health and human services benefits is challenging because policies and application processes are really complex. And several people need help from caseworkers and others like call center specialists to do this successfully. And in Nava Labs, we've been working with support from philanthropic funding, academic partners like Better Government Lab, and frontline implementation partners to test and pilot open source tools that help reduce caseworker burdens. And ultimately, our end goal is to improve access to benefits. We've been working on tools across different touch points between caseworkers and clients, and I'm going to quickly demo 3 of them today. And all of these 3 are currently in the piloting phase of work. So our first tool is a generative AI-powered assistive chatbot. It can take a lot of time and cognitive burden to navigate different documents, understand eligibility, even for veteran caseworkers, especially for edge case clients who have very unique circumstances. So the goal of the chatbot is to help caseworkers retrieve information quickly about program rules and help them translate those rules into plain language explanations for clients. So using retrieval augmented generation, the assistive chatbot pulls info from only vetted sources. So we have collected a database of sources, both publicly available policy manuals, and in this particular application of the assistive chatbot, it also includes some proprietary information from our implementation partner, our pilot partner, Amplify. And they had existing plain language explanations of different questions and different about different programs. But when you take up this tool, you can include your own database of vetted resources. The tool provides plain language answers to the caseworker questions, as I noted. But it also includes direct quote citations from those vetted sources and links to the sources for further reading. And then finally, it provides clear program handoffs for out-of-scope programs and questions. So, for example, if a question is asked about a program not covered by the database of vetted resources, it will direct you to another site or tell you it doesn't have the answer. So this reduces the risk of hallucinations. And in our work with Georgetown Better Government Lab, we have just wrapped up a pilot, and we've studied a range of different outcomes. But one early promising impact that we've been able to show is that we estimate that the chatbot can increase caseworker median accuracy by 40% compared to peers without chatbot assistance. So effectively what this means is, like, live in the moment, we can get better answers for clients at that time rather than caseworkers having to take notes and go back and do research and then follow up with clients. So our second tool, which actually kicks off piloting this week, we have colleagues in Texas right now with our pilot partners having a meeting probably at this very moment, is a referral generator. And so similar to the challenge of understanding program eligibility rules and understanding what folks are eligible for, it can also take a lot of time to search a referral list to match client needs with what different programs and different community resources are available. So our tool aims to help retrieve those relevant resources and programs that match those client needs. And so as I said, we are currently piloting this tool in Texas. We're piloting with the Goodwill of Central Texas, and Goodwill helps refer clients to job training programs internally within their network, but they also help clients find actual jobs, apply for jobs, and then also are interested in connecting their clients to external community resources. So in this demo, which we're going to launch now, the client is interested in job trainings, food resources, and diapers. And so the caseworker selects the categories of Goodwill Career Training Academy programs and local community resources. And then they also have the opportunity to refine by subcategory. So we know the client is interested in healthcare job training opportunities, as well as diapers. So we tried to think about some of the subcategories where some of those community resources might have diapers. And then the caseworker inputs the location so we can match the most convenient resources, the language preference, and details about the client needs. So in this case, medical assistant training and diapers. And then the tool will pull resources from a variety of sources. So in this case, some internal sources and lists from Goodwill themselves, but also put out calls to the internet to see what sources are available in that general area. And here you can see we've got the Goodwill Medical Assistance Training Certification comes up, the Central Texas Food Bank, and the Austin Diaper Bank. And so from there, the caseworker can work with the client on which resources or programs they would like to pursue and create an action plan. So step-by-step guide on how to obtain the resource. So in this case, the caseworker is going to select all three and generate those action plans. And you can see here that it shows details on how to apply, some documents that are needed, and some expectations on timeline and other key tips. And then finally, the caseworker has the opportunity to email this action plan to the client or print it and use it as a reference to work with the client on actually obtaining the resources and applying for the programs. And then I think that concludes the demo here. Okay, give me one moment. Okay, and then our third tool for today is a form filling assistant. So filling out applications is tedious. We've all filled out applications. It takes a long time to input data. Data entry is a time-consuming thing. And this is especially true when you have to fill out applications with the same data you've already given many times. So you could give the data in an intake call. You could give the data directly on a screener tool. And a lot of that times that data lives somewhere, right? Like it lives in a case management system. It could live in those call transcripts. And so this solution uses agentic technology to autocomplete benefit applications with data from existing sources, like an agency case management system in this particular case. But we'd love to test pulling the data from other sources. And we're currently preparing to pilot this tool with Amplify and First 5 Riverside County in California, whose caseworkers help young children and their families get the resources they need. So the demo will start with a welcome page explaining the choreography between the caseworker and the agentic tool, because the idea is that there's caseworker oversight throughout the engagement with the tool. And it will explain it will give expectations on what the caseworker will do versus what the AI tool will do. So the caseworker will start the application and get consent to use the data of the client. And then we'll type in the name and the date of birth of the client to pull the data from the case management tool, and then put in the link to the application that they want to apply for. So in this case, it's a WIC application for the University of Riverside, I'm getting it wrong, but it's Riverside University Health System. There we go. And then it showcases all of the steps that the AI tool is doing on the left, so the caseworker can follow along and see what it's doing to fill the application out. And then the caseworker has the ability to take back control and add in any, review the information and add in any missing information while working with the client. And then it also gives the caseworker the opportunity to fill out the CAPTCHA and submit the application on behalf of the client while working with the client. Okay. And then, oops. I wanted to end on the note that everything about these projects is done in the open. It's philanthropically funded work, so we have many public demo days that have been recorded. We will have future public demo days. So our product development processes, our evaluation methods, which incorporate work that our friends at the Better Government Lab are working on. And then notably including how we are evaluating this work and measuring specific outcomes like accuracy, appropriateness, acceptability, administrative burden, bias, acceptability, and accessibility. And we have the research questions, the study designs, the frameworks. It's all available, and we'd love to talk with you more about that if you are interested. And so with that, you can find all our demo day recordings, our case studies, our toolkits, our eval reports on the Nava Labs webpage, as well as all the source code in the GitHub repos. We have a newsletter if you want to follow along with Nava Labs work. And we also welcome you to reach out directly if you're interested in chatting about any of these AI tools. Thank you.